We've talked about how powerful Jake is on this channel before, but Adventure Time has more powerful characters than Jake. Much more powerful. Buried under the jokes, songs, and weird little creatures, there's a very real power ladder that goes from a kid with a sword all the way up to things that existed before existence itself. And the gap between those two is terrifying. So, we sat down and ranked some of the strongest characters Ooh has ever dealt with. Let's jump into it, starting with our main hero, Finn. Finn being in the lowest tier might seem somewhat obvious, but also kind of surprising at first. After all, he is the only human in a world full of magical beings and gods. But we see throughout the show that this kid could have been so much more if he wanted to. He's the reincarnation of a blue catalyst comet, a force of pure good. Being a hero is in his cosmic DNA. So you actually see flashes of that power sometimes, like when his emotions to punch his dad were so intense that they formed a psychic arm.
Baby's building a tower into space. Space is where he's gonna find his dad.
He's also been able to astrally project himself, and has pushed back against mind control.
Don't think about the plan. Think of something else.
No, Finn. She's... Ooh.
So yeah, there's definitely something bigger under the surface, but Finn doesn't lean on those powers. He's mostly just Finn the human. When he's given the chance to become something more, he actually turns it down. He wants to stay human and deal with the struggles that come with it.
You're telling me to abandon all this stuff, but you're not really making it sound bad.
It's not bad. I'm just giving you the choice of a new mode of existence.
I feel like I put a lot of work into this meat reality. I'd like to see it through.
From that, Finn carves out his own path to be a hero, and with his weapons, he's able to do so. The grass sword, the Finn sword, the hero's gauntlet, his mechanical arm upgrades, even that brief time with the 4D sword that could cut through dimensions. For real though, he survives fights with beings way above his weight class, so just because he's in the lowest tier doesn't mean you can underestimate him. At the end of the day though, Finn chose to stay human. So that's our baseline. Any other regular human or quote-unquote normal side character is below this, where we don't even have a tier for this, so they're not even mentioned. Okay, now let's look at what happens when you actually use divine power. Party God. Party God is basically a god with the most specific job description ever. He shows up to parties and makes them awesome. That's his whole divine purpose. And yeah, that does give him some reality warping abilities, but they're mostly party themed. He's immortal, and he makes celebrations better. He can also grant some wishes if he vibes with you. When he does, he fills you up with the energy of 1,000 partying demons.
To grant your wish, I will have to fill you with the energy of 1,000 partying demons.
But I don't think that he's built for any kind of combat or serious threats. He can split his giant head into smaller wolves and shoot beams out of his mouth, but that's pretty much it. So yeah, he is way stronger than any normal person, but compared to some of the entities we'll see later on, he barely makes it on the radar. Next up in this tier, we do have one of the most misleading characters in the entire show, Peppermint Butler. Peppermint Butler first looks like Princess Bubblegum's harmless candy butler, but we slowly find out that he's a serious dark magic user with connections that most characters never imagine, and it's those connections that make him truly dangerous. When the Lich possesses Princess Bubblegum, Peppermint Butler is the first one to notice and do something. He can open up a portal to the land of the dead and is pals with death itself. When he wants something done, he calls up demons, like the time he called up Ogdwad to possess Cinnamon Bun.
Lord Ogdwad, master of level 8 Shadow World. The willing vessel issues forth its pure essence.
Or when he called Hunson Abadir to create the Night Sword. He uses astral projection to form armor with flaming swords, and also turns Peacemaster's children into demon hybrids. Despite his connections with the occult, he's also a reliable exorcist and priest who was able to create blessed boundary spells for Finn and Jake when they fought against a ghost.
These circles will protect you from the ghost's attacks while I prepare the banishing ritual. Worry not, fellow believers.
So again, it's not really Peppermint Butler's combat abilities, even though he is pretty strong, but it's mostly his connections that make him way more powerful beyond what he can do alone, and he knows enough about magic to be seriously dangerous. Alright, now we have the elementals, or almost all the elementals. You'll see why. Elementals of fire, ice, and slime. The elementals are fundamental forces that have existed before civilization, reincarnating in cycles throughout history to keep the world from tearing itself apart. Flame Princess can destroy the planet if her emotions get too intense. Patience St. Pym survived the Mushroom War by freezing herself for centuries, and is much stronger than Ice King with his crown. Slime Princess is the weakest individually, but when powered up can absorb everything around her. And then there's Princess Bubblegum, who we'll actually save for later because in her elemental state, she really was in a league of her own. We saw in Elements that when all four wake up at the same time, the entire world gets divided into pure elemental territories: Candy Zone, Fire Zone, Ice Zone, and Slime Zone. Everything in each zone, including the people, get converted to that element. Together, they can literally rewrite the genetic makeup of every living thing in Ooh, but individually, they're still not cosmic-level threats. You can counter them with opposing elements, disrupt their balance, or just have Lumpy Space Princess show up, since her anti-elemental body apparently breaks their whole system. So, powerful? Absolutely, but somewhat manageable compared to what's coming up in the next tier. First up in this tier is the Empress, who was a member of the Vampire King's court and one of the most elegant yet dangerous vampires Marceline ever faced. Her primary power is hypnosis. When she wants to control someone, a golden snake coiled around her waist slithers up and pulls back her headscarf, revealing her big, beautiful, gorgeous red eyes underneath. These eyes can hypnotize almost anybody, forcing the victim to obey her every command through a chanted incantation.
Sell your spirit to the sky. Surrender to the Empress Eyes.
The big problem with her power, besides for if you look away, is that it doesn't work on crazy people. Ice King was completely immune because the crown had already turned his brain to mush. Luckily, there aren't that many crazy people in Adventure Time, right? Well, besides the hypnosis, she can also turn invisible, but she's not really that strong physically. She could also produce pink sound waves from the gem in her headscarf to attack opponents, though we never saw the full extent of that ability. So, she is powerful against normal minds, but the crazies being immune to her and her weak body give you clear ways to beat her if you can get around her specific abilities. Moving up, we have the Hierophant, who has the best shapeshifting of any vampire in the show. He can turn different parts of his body into different animals at the same time. Wolf senses, bat wings, scorpion poison, all at once if he needs to. But despite him being a literal shapeshifter, the fun dichotomy with his character is that he's dead set on following traditional vampire rules. He won't give up on drinking blood, can't go into homes without being invited, sunlight kills him, stakes kill him, and these weaknesses are ultimately what cause his eventual downfall. Next is Warren Ampersand. Warren is in this tier because he can shapeshift on a scale that is genuinely planetary and drain life from across dimensions. He created the entire landscape of the planet Nara with his stretchy abilities: land, cities, a civilization, the whole shebang. And he's also effectively immortal thanks to his life-draining ability, where he drains essence from his own children by making them stretch their bodies to their limits while wearing belts. But you can still beat him. Jake survived long enough to do the old switcheroo and steal his life-draining belt. His stretchy abilities would probably be useful for fights, but we never see him actually use them for that purpose, and his life-draining ability is also limited to his own kind. So he is very dangerous, but he also is pretty limited when it comes to direct confrontation, and that's a weakness that this next character also has. Bella Nosh. Bella Nosh is the ultimate anti-magic thing, which makes it super dangerous in specific situations, but weak everywhere else. Yeah, maybe I should have placed this one lower, but it's still pretty powerful. When it shows up, it nullifies all magic in Wizard City. Every wizard loses their powers immediately. Even Ice King's crown stopped working, and he reverted back to Simon Petrikov. As a magic user, you just can't do anything against it. You can't fight something that turns your powers off just by existing. But the immense magic nullifying abilities come at an embarrassing cost. Bella Nosh is physically very weak. We saw Betty, with no powers, kick her humanoid form once, and she immediately folded. So yeah, extremely powerful glass cannon. And finally, for this tier, we have Magic Man. Magic Man might not have the same raw feats as some vampires, but the reason he's placed at the upper end of this tier is simply because of the amount of chaos he can cause, and the fact that he genuinely enjoys causing it. There is no method to his madness. He shows up in Oo with absurdly high-level magic, and instead of doing anything meaningful or damaging with it, he just uses it to be the biggest jerk possible to random people he meets. He turns Finn into a giant foot just because he feels like it. He swaps bodies with Jake and lets him die for his crimes on Mars. Mess with time and space itself by creating spaces where time slows down.
What's he doing in there? Why did he freeze himself with my sandwich?
He's not frozen. He's super slow motion.
He keeps powerful creatures imprisoned, hoards strange artifacts, and treats suffering like a joke. He basically just acts on impulse, and impulsive people with reality warping abilities are a nightmare to deal with. But that's also exactly the reason that Magic Man isn't higher than Tier 7, because his magical abilities and grief over losing Margles made him borderline insane, so we only ever see him use his power to be a nuisance. Otherwise, who knows what he might have even been capable of. Now, Tier 6 doesn't have that problem. These beings actually use their power to its fullest, and we saw what happened when they did, starting with the King. And no, not Ice King, the Vampire King, because he is as good as pure as a vampire can get. He solved the fundamental problem that keeps vampires from being top-tier threats. As we've seen, vampires as a species have incredible powers, but one crippling weakness: they can't go out into the sun. So the Vampire King invented the Transparent Room, an invisible sort of structure that diffuses sunlight so that he could function during the day.
You butt, you stain, you... Hey, long time no see.
Indeed.
And if that wasn't enough, his physical feats are insane enough to warrant him a spot in this tier. His telekinesis abilities are seconds to none, like when he launches Jake so hard he disappears off-screen.
No, thank you.
He can even control water with it.
I have the power to change destiny!
He also has a dark cloud form of his vampire essence that can apparently bend reality, according to Princess Bubblegum, and we saw how the alternate version of him with the crown was able to conquer all of Oo together with Marceline. He's the ceiling for what vampires in this world can do, and the fact that Marceline needed demon powers on top of vampire abilities to kill him tells you exactly where the bar is. Next, we have Princess Bubblegum, full elemental. Princess Bubblegum as an elemental is honestly kind of terrifying if you think about it, and that's why she's in this tier. When her elemental power fully kicks in, she displays a level of control and power that we don't see from the other elementals. Her candy influence isn't limited to just Oo anymore, because her control and influence of her element spread all the way throughout the galaxy. She steamrolls the Fire Princess and her kingdom, and then easily takes over the Slime Kingdom and Ice Kingdom because they don't even bother putting up a fight. So, unless you're specifically Lumpy Space Princess with her weird anti-elemental properties, PB in this state is unstoppable. She's a sugary, sweet biological force that rewrites the world's DNA until everything becomes an extension of her will. Now, next up we have the real king himself, Ice King, with the crown of course. People sleep on Ice King because they see the kidnapping princesses stuff and the bad drumming, and they miss what the crown actually demonstrates what it can do. Farmworld Simon used the crown's power to stop the mushroom bomb. He died, and then the crown, grieving the loss of its master, froze the entire planet for 400 years. That is the level of power we're working with here, and Ice King has that source of power strapped to his head. That's why we're placing him above St. Pim in this ranking, because he has access to this kind of power, but he mostly doesn't use it. In the regular timeline though, Simon survived the Mushroom War specifically because the crown kept him alive at the cost of his sanity. So Ice King uses godlike ice powers to write fanfiction and kidnap princesses instead of doing anything strategic or trying to take over the world. But despite his incompetence and literal insanity, he does run a frickin' kingdom and has been able to defeat and incapacitate Finn and Jake from time to time, and he even helps stop a lich-possessed PB at one point, which is by no means a small feat. He could withstand Fire Kingdom temperatures without heat suits. He knows Frigitsu and the Ice Ninja art.
A couple of ninjas like me and Finn can only be defeated by another ninja!
Ninja!
and his wizard eyes let him see into the spirit world, which is not always a good thing.
Times it's like crazy, crazy, crazy in your face all the time.
He could also take people to his imagination zone where he created illusions.
Sun is going down. Shall we capture princesses now, Poppy?
No, let's just stay here a little longer, son.
I love you forever, Poppy.
So, despite Ice King's IQ being in the negatives, he's still done some incredible things with his powers and would be even more powerful if he actually used it properly. Right after Ice King, we have Magic Betty. It only feels right to talk about Betty now, because once she took on Magic Man's powers, she actually went hard. She gained all of his reality warping abilities, including his madness, but also had something Magic Man didn't have anymore: purpose. But even with all that power, she wasn't untouchable. Patience St. Pym captured her and used her as a magic battery to awaken the elementals, and in the end, her desperation to save Simon led her straight to... well, we'll talk about that later, but it's enough to say that if she had enough time to practice with her powers, she wouldn't have been caught and would be one of the more powerful creatures. And finally, on this tier, we have Marceline the Vampire Queen. Marceline's very much capable and arguably one of the strongest magical beings in the show, what with her thousands of years of messing around, fighting whoever was in her way, absorbing the other vampire powers, and rocking that sweet bass. Her demonic heritage from Hunson gave her soul-eating powers and some fire control. Her half-demon blood also extended her lifespan even more. We saw in The Stakes that she can absorb powers from her enemies, as each vampire that she killed gave her new abilities when she sucked them off, up. The Fool gave her flight, the Empress gave her invisibility, the Moon gave her rapid healing, the Hierophant gave her shapeshifting, and from the Vampire King, she got telekinesis, telepathy, hydrokinesis, teleportation, and even his dark cloud form. She also doesn't have the weaknesses that other vampires suffer from. Sunlight does hurt her, but it doesn't immediately kill her. She eats the color red instead of blood, so please keep your red belongings away from her. Oh yeah, and did I mention again that she's immortal, basically? So, with that combination of experience and powers, I think she easily secures her place at the top of Tier 6. But from here on out, we're dealing with beings who sit above it all. Quick thing before we actually get to the god tier stuff. So, making this video meant diving deep into some pretty obscure corners of the internet. Adventure Time wiki rabbit holes at 2 AM, Reddit threads from 2015, just trying to find those right clips that aren't region locked and that are exactly what we wanted to find, which is actually where Surfshark came in handy. Surfshark is a VPN that lets you change your virtual location with a single click. So whenever I need to access research materials that aren't available in my region, or if I'm looking for better deals on software and subscriptions, Surfshark makes it happen. Plus, it encrypts your connection, which means you're not broadcasting your entire research history to your ISP. Because, trust me, my search history for this video looks absolutely unhinged, and honestly, for the amount of time that we spend online researching cartoon lore, having that extra layer of security just makes sense. So, if you want to check it out, right now you can go to surfshark.com/lessonsof or use code LESSONSOF at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's literally no risk in trying it out. Link's in the description. Alright, we're gonna get back to the cosmic entities that can rewrite reality, starting with G-Man. 4 heads, 1 godly body. Each head has a different name and personality. This Martian deity is Magic Man's older brother and one of the few survivors of Golb's attack on Mars. And if that wasn't enough, their greatest known feat is defeating Orgalorg, the Breaker of Worlds, in space combat with just a few swipes of their flaming sword.
The flaming sword of Grob Gob Glob Grod.
Their equipment includes the blue flaming sword, the Wand of Disbursement that can send souls to the 37th Dead World, and a magic draining device that can locate targets even planets away and drain all magical power. Now, we don't actually know if this device works on all magical beings, or if it was specifically made for Magic Man, but either way, it's pretty scary. They can survive and speak in the vacuum of space with no issues. They have telekinesis, can observe people in the astral plane like they did with Finn. They possess god-level intellect, can fly from Mars to Earth in mere minutes, and have extreme durability. They actually sacrificed their life, too, to protect Mars from a spacecraft collision that would have extinguished all life on the planet. The impact destroyed their body, but the 4 heads survived. Now, they basically orbit planet Earth, watching over the entire planet, acting as a more vigilant god than ever. In hindsight, maybe this one should have been lowered due to their current level of power, but oh well, I think at the peak of their power, they deserve to be here. But next, we have Death himself, who isn't the traditional Grim Reaper we see in most shows. Death is married to Life. We'll get to her later, and he's the father of New Death, who we'll also cover in a bit. Maybe he's also the grandfather of Mr. Death? I don't know, family business, I guess. Death's powers are actually kind of insane when you think about it. He is Death. He can teleport people with red eye beams.
I'm going to kill you now.
No!
Those are the rules in the land of the dead. Lose a music battle, lose your life.
He can create energy prisons for anyone who loses his music battles, because apparently Death is really into music. He can travel between all the dead worlds, except the 50th one, because he needs someone on the inside to let him in, and he can restore memories erased by the river of forgetfulness through the Kiss of Death. Mwah. As Death, he has complete authority over mortality.
I wish I didn't.
Now I shall return the soul of this.
Yeah, the princess plant!
He can resurrect dead life like the princess plant, and can strip away immortality with a head wobble.
I offer my immortality. Deal.
But there are exceptions to his authority. Primordial beings and cosmic entities like the Lich, Orgolorg, and Hunson Abadir operate outside of his jurisdiction. Also, he can be beaten in his own music challenges, which is honestly kind of embarrassing for the literal embodiment of death. And he also plays favorites with friends like Peppermint Butler, which seems unprofessional, but whatever, he deserves this spot here for sure. Now, the beings in this next tier are something else. They're old, really old, and terrifying because of what they can do. Marceline's dad is the ruler of the Nightosphere. His soul eating has no known limit. Every soul he eats makes him bigger and stronger, and we haven't seen him not able to eat a single soul besides one. He's described as deathless, so killing this guy is literally just not possible. The Amulet of the Nightosphere gives him powers that make anyone else go crazy, but he controls it perfectly. Marceline and Finn lost control right away when they wore it. But what's interesting is that he's not trying to conquer everything or destroy all life or whatever. He actually genuinely loves Marceline. He goes to her concerts, gives her the ability to suck souls as a gift. He's basically chaotic evil, but he's content ruling his dimension and eating fries that don't belong to him, and he causes some drama in the meantime. And he's still keeping some real relationships, but he can't get to Ooh without being summoned. So he's not using his power to its fullest potential, basically because he doesn't want to. He's happy where he is. And that's the only thing keeping Hunson from being higher on this list, because if he ever got ambitious and got summoned to the right place, we'd all be in serious trouble. Speaking of trouble, let's talk about Kokentepi. This is the primordial monster that is said to be the source of basically all magic in the show. Though we already know that's not necessarily true because of Fiona and Cake, but we'll roll with it for now.
Our secret order of wizards have been searching for centuries. For even death could not contain his power forever.
Kokentepi came to Earth millions of years ago and then died, but his essence is still around. His body is buried under Wizard City, and even as a corpse, he's radiating magical influence. The usurpers of Wizard City keep his remains hidden because just the liquid essence from his heart has immense dark magical power after even millennia. This essence can be consumed by a chosen vessel, and if you're not worthy, your body literally explodes from the energy overload. If you are compatible, you become the new Kokentepi. Lucky you. When Peppermint Butler got possessed and became Peppermint Tepi, he went up against 5 of the best teachers at Wizard School and easily beat them up, even though they used all of their magic power against him. The possessed form had pyrokinesis, ice powers, supersonic screams that disintegrate targets, spell nullification, massive energy bursts, shapeshifting, and access to basically universal magic. Because Kokentepi is the source of some form of magic, theoretically any spell is possible if you're hosting his essence. But you can also just vomit it out and return to normal. And we've never actually seen his original form, too. If he ever gets fully resurrected, again, we're all in massive trouble. Next up, we have Orgolorg, the cutie himself. Before we actually meet Orgolorg properly, we need to talk about Gunter the Penguin, Ice King's pet, the one soul that Hunson Abadir could not absorb. He's cute, he says "whack," and is mostly harmless, right? Besides for when he's smashing bottles. Except Hunson Abadir, ruler of the Nightosphere and primordial monster, looked directly at Gunter and said he was the most evil creature he'd ever encountered. Yeah, and it turns out there's a reason for that.
Orgolorg is an ancient cosmic entity who ruled the solar system with his cruel and deadly whims, the Breaker of Worlds.
Like every other primordial cosmic entity, Orgolorg existed before time and nothingness itself. He roamed the universe for countless eons, conquering entire solar systems on mere whims, and was known throughout the cosmos as the Breaker of Worlds. After Grobgob Globgrod, gosh, I hate saying that name, it's a little bit of a tongue twister, sent him crashing to Earth, the planet's gravity compressed him into the shape of a penguin. This compression caused complete amnesia of his true identity. But the evil remained. When Gunter received a strong blow to the head, his huge green oozing brain leaked out and some memories returned. He sent a psychic message to a planet in another galaxy that caused hysteria and panic all across it. Orgolorg's powers include essence absorption through tendrils, catalyst comet absorption, supernatural durability to survive cosmic impacts, hologram creation, spaceflight, dream and fear manipulation, psychic abilities across galaxies, and solar system conquest capabilities. We haven't even seen the extent of his true powers. After Adventure Time's finale, Gunter used the Evergreen Crown's wish and transformed into the Ice Thing, an ice elemental, so he actually might not ever go back to being Orgolorg ever again, which potentially neutralizes one of the universe's greatest threats permanently. And finally, at the top of this tier is the Lich. What can I even say about the Lich that hasn't been covered in like 100 videos already? He existed before the Big Bang. His first time on Earth, he killed all the dinosaurs. Kinda. I mean, he was that extinction comet after all. After the Mushroom War, which he caused, he tried to end all life again everywhere. And yeah, that's basically this guy's whole thing, to wipe out all living things, even in the dead worlds. And once, he even accomplished this. His voice can trap you in a mental space where he controls everything. You're basically powerless up against him.
Fall.
His aura itself brings rot and death wherever he goes. He killed Prismo.
Are you my son?
He can manipulate green flames and inhabit the minds of other beings, both dead and alive. You can't even truly stop the Lich. He always comes back. He's essentially an unloving, ungodly state of destruction and terror. He reincarnates across time as a world-ending comet and shows up in universes where he was literally wished out of existence. He just keeps coming back no matter what. His only known weaknesses are things fundamentally good, and because of this, he's been stopped multiple times by Finn. Maybe Finn should have been placed higher, but oh well. He's essentially the strongest thing that regular people with the right preparation can still stop, or if you're Golbetty, you can just stop him as well, but we'll get there. That's why he's here and not higher. Still absolutely terrifying though, especially as a creature who is capable of eliminating all of life. Now, this next tier is where it starts getting more abstract, because now we're stepping into the territory of beings who control the fundamental building blocks of how reality works in this show. So, New Death is Death and Life's son. The family drama in this show is wild. After he killed his dad, he became the ruler of the Dead Worlds. His own powers include flying, breathing fire, venom, and strong magic. But the real scary part is that with the Lich Hand, he had the power to end reincarnation itself. So yeah, that's messing with a fundamental cosmic process. And as soon as his mother found out about this, she decided to put a stop to it. And if it weren't for her, he probably would have been unstoppable by anyone. And speaking of his mother, life. Life is the primordial entity representing, well, life itself. She's in a relationship with Death, which is either the universe's greatest example of cosmic balance or the weirdest arranged marriage in existence. Life is a cosmic being with two snakeheads that speak at the same time. She, of course, brings life into being, can grant life to the lifeless, and controls the creation aspect of existence. She works in balance with Death to maintain the cycle of reincarnation. One creates, one ends, and together they keep reality from collapsing into either eternal stagnation or infinite and unbounded creation. Life doesn't get much screen time and we don't see her fighting anyone, but her mere existence is crucial. Without her, there's just Death. And Death without life is just the Lich's wet dream. And next we have the Cosmic Owl. Cosmic Owl is the only one to exist across all realities. Infinite universes, one Cosmic Owl. He almost died in Fiona and Cake too. Pretty easily too, but of course not. He couldn't be killed that easily.
Mistrial in the court!
He essentially shows up in dreams throughout the multiverse, and when he appears, that dream becomes real. Something from it will happen. His powers are mostly abstract since he exists in the subconscious realm. We've never actually seen him fight anyone except HW, but that wasn't a real fight either, it was in a dream, so we can't judge him on combat skills. But characters in Adventure Time treat him with genuine awe. Sometimes he delivers prophecies. Sometimes he gives blunt personal criticism and life advice. Just shows up in your subconscious and tells you you're making bad choices. I wonder if he'll show up in some of mine sometime. Like, imagine getting roasted by a giant golden fluffy owl in your sleep, right? He's got divine status. His reach extends beyond the multiverse, and he seems to be indestructible, or at least he reincarnates. He's also apparently the best at board games and always gets invited to Prismo's parties, which is a weird detail, but I love it. But it's not as weird as this next entry you've all been waiting for, Jake. Wait, Jake? Our Jake? Finn's best friend Jake? In this tier? Yeah, he's here specifically because he keeps Prismo existing, and, well, some other stuff. Prismo is a dream. Some old man's dream that gained consciousness and reality-bending powers, and right now, that old man is actually alternate timeline Jake. If the dreamer wakes up, Prismo stops existing. So Jake, who turned into that old man, literally sustains one of the most powerful reality warpers in the multiverse just by staying asleep. And even if we ignore all that, his own powers also make him one of the strongest characters in the universe. Just like his dad, the blue one, his shapeshifting lets him change the size, shape, and dimension of every body part, organs, muscles, everything independently. There are limits to this though. His stretchy abilities do follow some kind of conservation of mass, so if he stretches too far, he gets dangerously thin and could die.
Jake, you okay?
Yeah, I just can't close my eyes. Lid's too tight. Yeah, I'm feeling a little thin.
He's also got an acute sense of smell 1,000 times better than Finn's, and has a supernaturally powerful imagination that borders on psychic reality-altering powers. Anything that he imagines becomes reality, though only he can see his own creations, and we've only seen this power a couple of times. So his laid-back personality, his various powers, combined with his cosmic importance as a dreamer, make him perfect in this tier, I think. But if you disagree, let us know. He's essentially the multiverse's load-bearing sleeping dog who just happens to be multiple times stronger than Oo's greatest hero. And finally, for this tier, there's another one of his good friends, Prismo. Prismo has one of the most insane abilities in the show. When you reach his time room using the Enchiridion, you get one wish. And Prismo creates an entire new reality in the multiverse and transports the wisher into that wish-created reality. When Finn wished for a world without the Lich, Prismo created Farm World, a completely functional alternate timeline, a universe by itself. But there are also some serious rules that you'd need to be aware of before making a wish. Anyone inside the time room during reality changes is protected from the alterations. When Finn made his wish, Jake stayed in the time room and remembered the original Finn, creating a paradox where both versions existed. After Jake wished Finn back, the main universe returned, but farm worlds kept existing because of the paradox.
Wishing an event to be changes elements before and after it. Memories will be destroyed, babies will not be born. Potential worlds could be evaporated by your wish.
So, Prismo's wishes create real, alternate timelines and can essentially rewrite universal history and create entire realities. He also gets to choose which wishes he grants and interprets them super literally, so you gotta be careful how you phrase things. But there are also some limits to what wishes he can or can't grant. He can't undo what entities above him do, he can't retrieve things that Golb erased, and sometimes his powers go on the fritz. He can create and destroy universes and rewrite timelines themselves, but he does have some clear boundaries and serves someone higher up than him. Which brings us to our next tier. Scarab is what happens when you give a petty, jealous bureaucrat god-tier powers and tell him to monitor literally everyone. As God Auditor, Scarab's job is making sure that cosmic entities do their jobs properly. He can imprison or eliminate anything that violates cosmic law. He can turn his victims into pixelated creatures, trapping them in egg capsules and storing the capsules inside his crystal, Pokemon style. He did this to Kyrosyphon and multiple other powerful characters, which shows that he has some major power over beings that would be gods anywhere else. Without the crystal though, Scarab is still a nightmare. He's practically immortal with an immense lifespan. Highly resistant to most attacks, though not fully. His outer shell can crack, his limbs can be cut off, and he can feel pain, but he always returns.
Oh, and in my own body as well.
After Golbetty deconstructed him into smaller insectoid-type creatures, Scarab basically just reassembled his body by reuniting all of the pieces like cosmic Legos. He's also got shapeshifting to disguise himself when invading other universes, telepathy to send mental messages, super regeneration, super agility, combat skills refined over eons. But his borderline obsession with getting Prismo in trouble did get him demoted from God Auditor to Prismo's assistant by this next character, Orbo. Orbo is seemingly second in command to the boss and is part of the cosmic administrative structure that keeps entities like Prismo and Scarab in line. Fans also speculate that Orbo's size changes in ways that don't make physical sense. He'll be small one moment, then massive the next, then back again without any visible transformation, so he kind of ignores physical reality. This matches what a hypersphere from a higher dimension would look like moving through 3D space, which means that Orbo is literally operating on a dimension higher than most beings can even perceive.
You're my boss, but you're not the boss. Why don't I give them a call?
Just be cool!
When Scarab threatens to call the boss during their argument, he just dematerializes Scarab completely, then rematerializes him a second later just to show him who's the boss, or at least the second in command to the boss. Despite being a fourth-dimensional entity who can erase you from existence with a thought, Orbo is actually pretty chill. He does take his job seriously though, but he's not too uptight, and he thinks Prismo is cool. That's what he wants Scarab to be like, basically, instead of being a jealous little snitch. So, he can physically intimidate entities that erase realities for a living, and most importantly, he enforces cosmic law across all dimensions, which means that his jurisdiction is literally infinite. But everything up until this point still plays by the rules. There's a clear cosmic hierarchy here, with powers and abilities and all that stuff. But Tier 1 is where all of that falls apart. This tier belongs to chaos itself. Pure, primordial chaos. Golbetty. We've talked about Betty before and how she spent years studying magic to try to save the man she loved. So when she and Normal Man summoned Golb to Oo and the crown was reverted back to its primal wish-granting form, Betty made one wish: the power to keep Simon safe.
However it has to happen. I wish for the power to keep Simon safe.
And the crown obliged and fused her with the embodiment of chaos itself. Golbetty is what happens when Magic Betty merges with a primordial god of entropy. This entity seems to retain all of Betty's memories and all of Golb's chaos manipulation. I mean, it literally turned the Lich into a green Tetris block just by looking at him. and later transmuted the scarab to protect Simon. But the beautiful tragedy with Betty is that she got exactly what she wanted. She can keep Simon safe now, but she's now no longer human, no longer Betty in any meaningful sense. An infinite, chaotic power who protects Simon from afar, but can do nothing to live next to him, to love him, to be with him. It's one of the most heartbreaking characters and curse grants in the entire show. But there actually might be something even above Golb, almost infinite in power as it is. Prismo's boss. This thing oversees Prismo, Orbo, Scarab, and possibly every other cosmic bureaucrat across the entire multiverse. When Prismo screws around creating unauthorized universes, this is who he fears and potentially who takes his powers away. We never do see the boss except for his phone, but there are of course theories as to who this entity might be and what they look like, the most popular of which might be linked to a mysterious figure called Malice, depicted right alongside Golb, with the Ouroboros symbol beneath it. But that's just a theory. A lessons of theory. If you want to learn more about this theory and what makes this mysterious character potentially the most powerful character in all of Adventure Time, make sure to click here. And hey, if you think anything was wrong in this video, or if you want to add something or shift the tiers around a little bit, let us know in the comments down below. We really appreciate everyone liking, subscribing, commenting, and just being part of this community. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.